welcome back to Muse After Hours. I'm Kyan Davis, the owner of Muse Extension Lounge in Olympia.
And I'm Julia Ward, the owner of Muse Extension Lounge in Arizona. So we have a special guest today, you guys. She is literally one of my best friends in the entire world. And she actually lives in Washington, but she's here in Arizona with me for the first time, her and her entire family. And we actually have like this, we've shared this entrepreneurship journey together because we actually met when we both opened up our businesses back in 2009. Right? Was it 2009?
It was 2009.
So I was like, hey, Steph, you're going to hop on this podcast because you have so much to offer people. And she was like,
Yeah. But I mean, that's what this podcast is all about. We want to have just lots of different people on here to give their stories because a lot of people can connect with just hearing each other's stories. So, I mean, why don't we just like jump into like a little bit of like your guys' background? I know you just like, when did you both start your friendship? Was it when you guys began your entrepreneurship journey or was it before that?
Yeah. So basically I met Stephanie because she was opening up this dance studio, Studio West Dance Academy. And Hannah was a little baby child. She was like 5. And I was like, I really want to get her in just like purest classical ballet. And it was right across the street from where I was opening up my first salon, Moda Capelli. And so I popped in there one day and she and her business partner, MC, were like painting the walls and they were on ladders.
And we were high on life.
Oh my gosh.
We were, it's so exciting when you're just opening a new business.
Yeah.
We were doing all the things then, which we don't always do all the things now. But then it was like we put in that sweat equity,
Yeah, absolutely. And so Hannah started going there. I loved them. And we had kind of more of just like a business working relationship. But then at some point we talked about like just starting a trade where Stephanie and MC would come in and get their hair done and Hannah's tuition would be taken care of through that. And so they started coming in and getting their hair done, and Stephanie and I were like magnets to each other. So tell the audience about how like you kind of have this like code of conduct about parents, like student parents.
Yes. I definitely, it's one of the first things that I got as an advice from somebody that owned a dance studio when I was first opening was like, the number one thing you have to remember is just not to become friends with parents. Because that comes,
like keep like separate relationship.
Yeah, because I mean, then you're invested emotionally, with each other, and that can be dangerous. So I definitely crossed that line with Julia, and you're pretty much the only one. I mean, honestly, thinking back on it, maybe there's like one other kind of, but not like the friendship I have with Julia. We became, dear best friends.
Yeah.
And then you were pregnant with your second child and I was pregnant with my first at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. And so that we really bonded on that, nothing like two ladies having a baby together that are magnets with each other and opening their businesses at the same time to have that real like, oh, we're walking the same path right now. And so you had that fellowship.
You guys had a lot to bond over.
Totally. Yeah. And so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were like, I feel right now we are in this place inside of business where women are slaying and they are so celebrated and they are just like pushing through ceilings that were put on them at one point. But when Steph and I started, that was not the case, right? Like,
I didn't.
Like being like a woman entrepreneur, like it just wasn't like, I don't know, a thing or a trendy thing or even that well respected when we started our journeys in 2009. And I feel like we really leaned on each other a lot because we were across the street from each other. We helped cross market each other's businesses. Like if they had a ballet, I would put posters up in my salon and, they would tell everybody about Moda Capelli. That was what the salon was called. And we grew our friendship, but also like, part of, I think, our connection was the fact that we really bonded on the fact that we started these brand new businesses at the same time.
And growing our businesses at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And both being successful right from the beginning, which was pretty remarkable.
For sure.
That doesn't always happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so
during a recession.
during a recession. So tell them where Studio was started and like give them like story of like where it is now, like how you have grown and.
Right. So in 2000, we started in 2008 summer, and you started in March of 2009.
Good memory.
And yeah, so my business partner and I, we taught at a local dance studio, and I was working at a restaurant and teaching at I would drive up to Seattle and back to 4 different studios. So it's like if you guys worked at a bunch of, different salons, and all your energy is going to all these other places, but you want to just focus everything in on, one location where you can set your own schedule and be invested with your clients, or for me, it was my students and my families, instead of spreading my energy everywhere. So my husband had kept on, pushing me to open a dance studio. And I just was like, it was daunting. That's a lot of work. And, which it is, but it's the most rewarding thing. So I opened in 2008, and our very first year in business, we had 350 students. So, I mean,
oh my gosh, that's a lot.
It's a lot. We were like, okay, let's just try to get 100 our first year, having that goal. And then we got to 350. And then by 2000, so then, from there, we just have quality teachers. I mean, the highest quality. It's all about, making sure that you have good energy, right? It's the same thing with you, in your guys' line. It's like people you work with, they really just help you be the best artist you can be. And they help, bring out, that creative side. And
and these guys are passionate. Like when they teach, if you witness them teach, like they are so invested, so involved. Like their body language is passionate, their voice is passionate. It's almost like theatrical, but it is that energy. And this is obviously where, I don't know, a lot of you listening may or may not know that Hannah like actually grew up in that, and even like went as far as pursuing a professional career. And so I really like had a front row seat to it for like years and years and years, and their growth and the quality and your guys' ballets. Because Steph, she had a professional career. So she and what would you call Mariana? What's her role?
She would say that she's core faculty, one of the principal faculty.
Yeah. And you guys both had those careers. And then MC, obviously, which is Stephanie's business partner.
In charge of the children's department.
Yeah. And she's, oh my gosh, she's like the child, like the toddler whisperer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's where we work, because as business partners, she's in charge of, the young ones program. I'm in charge of the advanced program. But what's interesting about this business, I mean, this does not always work out how it works out for all people. Like her and I, we barely knew each other when we started the business. We went on, I called it dating. I dated her like 3 times. And the first day I'm like, I think I can marry you and start it and birth a business, And then, and it's just, we've been working I call her, my wifey. And she's 16 years we've been in business together, and, there's no competition, and it's not like we don't take offense. And that's the big thing in a business, is like being able to speak your mind. Obviously it's about delivery. Like you're going to be kind about things, but it's about her and I never being like, it's a competition of whose ideas are going to win and who's going to be the one to, it's very supportive. And if she doesn't like something, she tells me. If I don't like something, I tell her, but it's very kind. And I don't know, we just have a really good rapport, and we want the best for the business and enjoy working together. And that's helps us thrive.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, me and Julia can definitely relate to that, having that collaboration and that relationship. And it is like a marriage. I remember when we were first talking about becoming business partners, we're like, this is like a marriage, basically, like going into business with someone, because you're talking constantly. You have so many major decisions to be making with this person. So it's so important when you're trying to decide who to go into business with, that you really have a strong relationship with that person.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to have, like, I would say that you and MC like have some like yin and yangs, right? Like what you're not, she is, what she's not, you are. Would you say that?
Absolutely.
And that's why it works so well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's amazing. I mean, so we just, when we opened, it was like wildfire in a good way. Like it just spread, I mean, through the community. And then
huge. Like our community clearly needed this and wanted this, something that was like that next level high quality, because the ballets that these guys produce are insane to have at a local level. Like Tell them about Peter Pan.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're doing Peter Pan at the Washington Center.
What are the dates?
April 13th and 14th. And I don't think I even dropped our name, but our name is Studio West Dance Academy. Just to put that out there, what the business name is.
The students call it SWATA.
Or SWATA.
SWATA.
SWDA. Yeah, no, I mean, we have ZFX, which is a world-renowned flying company coming in. I mean, it's a $50,000 production we put on for students, but our students, we make them step up to such a high level caliber of dancing because they can. You know, it's not just recreation, come in, give us your money, and we'll like pretend to teach them something. It's like, no, I mean, we expect these kids to get to such a high level where if they wanted to pursue a career, they could. I mean, that's what it's about. And even if they don't want a career, why not? You should be reaching your highest level of excellence in the art. I mean, that's the respect for the art form. And it's also the accomplishment you feel is unreal. And delivering that to our local audience is like, most people leave saying, I cannot believe that the quality of production. I feel like I was just in Seattle watching a ballet, but I don't have to drive from Seattle.
Yeah,
and Peter
so
Pan is like a rare one because it's a huge production and they have to hire this flying company. I think they're out of Vegas. Is that right?
ZFX is out of Louisville, but we have used Flying by Foy for the last two times.
Flying by Foy.
Yeah, they were the last two times. They were not available this time, but ZFX is phenomenal.
Yeah. So it's rare that they do it. And Hannah always prayed that they would have done this when she was like at the top of her game, like before she graduated. Like it's that coveted. And it is
my favorite.
It's on the docket. It's coming in what?
Right, that's
a
so
couple
exciting.
weeks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the theater this Thursday.
Yeah. So it's I mean,
so
this is
exciting.
Big
That's
deal.
going to be amazing.
Yeah, seriously, all of you guys that are listening who are in the Pacific Northwest, you have to go to this ballet.
It's enchanting in every way, shape, and form.
Oh my God, the flight music, it moves me like
goosebumps.
It's
I'm in the studio when I'm rehearsing it. I'm like goosebumps. Like it's my favorite ballet out of all of our ballets. So, and it was the very first one we put on in 2011. So we opened in 2008. We put it on in 2011, which was huge. I mean, to put on a ballet of that magnitude right away. So it was like we just jumped headfirst into everything.
Yeah.
And then by the time it got to 2019, we had 950 students. And then 2020 hit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And we were thriving. We didn't feel like it was too much for us to handle. Like our crew, our office manager, and our admin staff and all of our teachers, it was just like, we have 25 staff members. And it was just like, everybody's just passionate and like loving what the studio is bringing to the community. And yeah. And
but that says a lot about you that you are able to attract and appoint people to be able to handle that sort of growth.
Yeah. Right.
That's huge. That says a lot about your leadership skills.
Thank you. Yeah. I always tell everybody's, oh, you're the boss. And ever since I opened when we were 28, and I've always been, even to this day, 16 years later, I'm like, no, we're coworkers. I mean, yes, I do have that side where it's like, yes, I have to ultimately call the shots and I have to make decisions and I have to oversee so much. But honestly, like I really want it to be a collaborative environment. I want everybody to feel like they have not a say, but like a input.
That they're involved.
Yeah.
Input.
And
yeah,
have input. Yeah.
That ballet is just as much theirs as it is mine because they're a part of it.
Exactly.
And that that's really special. And MC, my business partner, has the same mentality. So
yeah, and I would say that we're very much the same at Muse, right, Cayenne? And in fact, that's so funny you said that because I literally just had this conversation because I was talking about you guys, because I talk about you all the time, and Washington.
Yes.
And I use the word coworker, and my client kind of looked at me and I was like, but yes, employees, but you know, past tense, obviously, but they were my coworkers because we are a team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're very collaborative, and it's, kind of like you were saying earlier, Stephanie, about it's like very collaborative, like no competition, like we're all involved and we all feel like we do have an input, which I think is very important from a leadership perspective to give that to your employees, because then they feel like they're more invested and they're along for the ride with you and with the brand and business, which just creates a really, really strong team.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's like, honestly, the only way I could ever imagine it, because that's just, we have bonds and love just like you guys do. Yeah. And that's why you have the retention that you do. You have incredible employee retention.
We do. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, that's at least half of our employees have been with us since we started 16 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our core,
Yeah, that's
our
amazing.
core employees, you
Yeah.
know, that are on salary and whatnot. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it makes going to work fun. We always say that. We're always like, oh, we love working together. This is fun, you know?
Yeah.
It makes it not work, you know? It's
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
if
love
you
that.
have any like last words about, because I think the fact that you grew so fast and you were able to sustain, and the fact that you and MC have this like beautiful working relationship. If you were to give any entrepreneur who's like looking to begin some advice, what would it be?
go for it, jump in and do it, because it was a big risk. I had no money in the bank when I started the business. Seriously, I had none. And we started from nothing, but we had ambition and we had the dream. I mean, we had the vision, you know, and
Yeah.
it became a reality fast. And so I would say that would be my advice. If you know that you have a talent and you have something that's worth something, just do it. You know,
Do it scared. That's what
Do
we
it
say.
scared.
That's
Yeah.
Do it
our
scared.
That's our
That's
motto
our saying.
as well. So you guys,
Yes.
if you are in the Pacific Northwest, make sure you get tickets. You go see Studio West Dance Theater's production of Peter Pan, April
13th and 14th.
You got at the Washington Center,
4 shows.
right?
Yep,
And
matinee and
it
evening.
is, you guys will die. You will leave with goosebumps. Your kids will be in absolute heaven. And follow, make sure you follow them on Instagram at
Studio West Dance Academy.
Dance Academy, and then of course Music Extension Lounge, and at
Yes.
julieward.muse. And
Cayenne.muse.
all right, you guys,
And we'll see you next week.
can't wait.
Right,
Take
thanks
care.
for having me,
everybody.
guys.
Bye.